This is a step-by-step video on how to fix the common issue in '07 through 2012 Dodge Ram, Dodge Caravan, Chrysler Town Country DVD rear entertainment system, where you might not see a picture, or it's black, or if you move it at a certain angle it doesn't work, but in parking the video works in the front camera. Go ahead and remove it from your car and then get it down to a work table and start off by removing these 4 screws on the side of the hinges. So these are just going to be Phillips screws. Once you've removed the screws, last one. Go ahead and put them in a separate pile. That's what they're going to look like. They're kind of fine thread. And then you're going to want to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8. But 7, 8 are slightly different. So these 6 are kind of a coarser thread, and you're going to want to put those in a separate area as well. And you can see I'm comparing the first screws for the hinges with the coarse ones, so they are different. So make sure you don't mix them up. And then the last 2 over here, they kind of have like a washer that's built in. You're going to want to remove it as well. And what that's going to do is it's going to release the metal backing frame from the plastic shell. Right, now that you got all the screws undone, it's time to pop off the metal. So that's what those screws look like right there. But it's time to pop off the metal off the plastic. So there's these little plastic tabs that are holding it on to the metal. You just want a flathead screwdriver, and you can kind of wedge it in there and then pry it back. And that should get you going, and that should help you release it. Then there's a third one there where basically the hinge is attaching as well. I'm kind of working both sides at it, so that popped open right there, and then I just got to get the other side of it. There's a little tab where the hinges are. That was kind of what was holding it. And then when I pulled it back, it released it. Now don't be too quick to pull it off, because there is that ribbon cable that's holding the 2 pieces together. Now this is the ribbon cable that's giving us the issues. As you can see right there, it's a 34 pin, and that's the one for non Blu-ray, and that's what the '07 through '12 is. And then there's these 2 little tabs on the sides. You're going to want to pull those out away from the motherboard, and what that does is it releases the ribbon cable, so that way you can remove it. Pay attention to the orientation of the ribbon cable. Notice that the tin connectors are facing up, and then when you reinstall it, you're going to want it to do the same thing. And then right there is that cable. So we do have a link to that in the video description where you can purchase that and get it fixed. So it's now time to get to the other end of the ribbon cable. So go ahead and open up the screen. At this point you want to remove the hinge which is connected to the screen from that plastic casing. And there's these two little tabs on the sides that are just holding that on there. Once you release it, you can gently slide them apart, and then notice that hole that the ribbon cable goes through. That's important because you'll have to put the new ribbon cable back through that hole. Alright, now we've got the screen, and now we need to separate it. So basically there's just a bunch of clips around it that's holding them together. And I find it easier just to start where this little notch is already. And you basically just want to separate the two parts from each other. Wedge something in there, and then just kind of work your way around it. I'm using a screwdriver here just because this is an older unit, but I would probably recommend using either a screwdriver with tape around there or like a trim remover, something plastic that's not going to scratch up the surface. But once you get it going, once you pop one or two clips, then it's much easier. Then you can just kind of go around and work it around in a circle. Yep, so you can see those little clips being exposed. So once you've worked the top and both sides, I find it easier just to lay the screen face down, and you can just pry that back piece just right off. Okay, go ahead and put that to the side, and more or less halfway done. So same thing, pay attention to the ribbon cable, same two little tabs, 34 pin, just pull it right back on both sides. And that will release the ribbon cable. Same thing, the tin connection is facing up, so away from the motherboard. So the issue is it folds so many times that it breaks that connection, and then that piece will not have a good connection, and that's why the screen turns black. So at this point, it's time to put the new ribbon cable in. So you're going to want to slide in the cable first, and then make sure it goes all the way where it won't go any further, with the tin side facing towards you, facing up. And then on those little push pins, you want to push them in on each side, and they're kind of connected, so you kind of have to go back and forth a little bit and then wedge it back on and make sure that they don't move anymore. Okay, then you can give it a light tug, make sure the cable's not going anywhere, and then you can put the plastic piece back on. So those are the little connectors that we were popping off earlier, and you can just place it right on top. And then those just click back into place. Yep, just make sure they're fully connected everywhere. And oh, right here it didn't click all the way. Let me just push that together. And that's it. So now we're going to want to slide the ribbon cable through that opening. So the same opening that the ribbon cable came out of. Go ahead and slide that through. And then the next thing is the hinges. When you're sliding them on, there's like a little groove where that metal piece will slide into, as you can see. So line it up and then slide it down on both sides evenly. And then you'll see it'll start lining up. Yep, so those little plastic clips will click in. That's good. And I'll just close that screen this way. Just makes it easier to work with. And time to connect the other end of the cable to the other motherboard. So same thing here. It's being connected to the same spot. Oh, my wallet got stuck onto there. Yep, so that's where it's going to go. So go ahead and rotate in that rotation. And then grab that ribbon cable. At this point, it's only going to go one way. And again, tin side facing up away from the motherboard. Then you're going to want to slide that in. With the tin facing up, it's important, otherwise it will not work. But at this point, it's only one way you could put it in if you did it right the first time when you did the screen. So yep, so slide it in, make sure it bottoms out, and then you can push in those little pin connectors on the side. And yeah, it's going to go back and forth a couple times until it stops moving and it's holding on tight. And if you want, give it a light tug. Alright, now you can put the cover back on. And then with the cover, it's pretty simple. It just clicks in. And same thing on the other side. Right, at this point, I'm going to put the 6 screws back on. And those are the coarse thread without the little hat. Okay, now that that's done, and there's the 2 with the built-in little washers, and those go at the bottom there again. Alright, almost done. Then the last ones are the fine 4 screws with the fine thread. Little ones, make sure that everything lines up for those little holes. Then you can go ahead and screw those down. And then once you're done with that, that's basically it. That's the whole repair. You can go ahead and put the DVD back in your car and it should work. And like I mentioned, there will be a link in the description to these ribbon cables. Now keep in mind, if you have a newer van, I do have another ribbon cable, but that is for the Blu-ray, and it has double the connectors. So same width, but they're 64 pin. And I also sell those as well if you need one of those. And the repair process is the same exact. It's just the connection is different. And if you're not sure which one you have, next to where the ribbon cable slides in, it'll say either 34 or 32 or 64 on there. Thanks for watching.